How's it going, friends? This week, I wanted to look at creating very small patches. I wanted to set some limitations for myself and just create small little boxes of sound. I was kind of inspired by the ALM Busy Circuits Instagram, where I often see them post little tiny hardware units of their modules, and they're always quite compelling. So I thought, let's make some small little patches. So I've done that. I've got these 4 ones here. They're all ready to go. Let's have a look at this first one. It's the first one I made. I'm just going to unmute it. So I'm just going to turn this down a bit. So what I'm doing here is I've got this clock module from Ondus. I looked at Ondus modules last week, I think. And I'm actually using a few Ondus modules here. But that's running this Rebel Technology dual Euclidean sequencer. The A output is going into this top half of the Bernoulli gate. The B output is going into the bottom half. The top half is controlling the kick and the snare. The bottom half is controlling the open and closed hi-hat. And the output of the baboom here, which is a drum module, is going into destroy, which is a distortion module, if you couldn't tell. This audio is kind of in series, going from one little effect to the next. I'm actually not using the last 2. But they're still connected, but that's okay. If we want to use them, they're there. Down here, I have a dark energy, which is being controlled by two ADDR sequences, the clock of which is coming from the lower half of this Bernoulli gate, so it's coming from B of the Euclidean sequencer. And it's creating these lush little sounds in the background here. Got a slight amount of modulation coming from Chordal here. And the reverb is Galaxy, which is from Sapphire. And the algorithm, the reverb algorithm in Galaxy is from the Air Windows Galactic Reverb, which is a really nice reverb. So yeah. The interesting thing about this is the Bernoulli gate, I think, which, especially when controlling the dark energy, because we end up with these 2 different sequences which kind of swap out from one another. And it creates this ever-evolving but somewhat consistent sequence, which I really like. I just think it sounds nice. So yeah, that's that patch. Again, very small. But it's this nice little groove that just kind of keeps going ad infinitum. I think it's interesting as well because I've got these different sequences set to different ranges, and so you end up with, it sort of sounds like 2 synths, like with a call and response coming back and forth, but it's just one oscillator. So I think that's cool. So I'm just gonna mute that, and let's check out our next sequence, or our next patch, I suppose. I'm just gonna unmute it. So this time we are running the patch off an LFO. That's our clock. I did that because it's small, really, but also just because you can totally use an LFO as a clock. It also means you can do crazy shit like this. Which you can't do as easily with a clock. You can, but it's kind of a bit better with an LFO. So that is controlling a Euclidean sequencer called Sphinx from Sanguine Modules. And that, in turn, is controlling Grid here, which is kind of I just randomly set it up, really. We've got some modulation happening on the vertical bias and the horizontal bias. And that's happening courtesy of Sicaria, which is a Wicked module, which is a random generator. And that is controlling this Instruo here, which is going into a low-pass gate. And I've got a quantizer pitching it. This grids is actually already quantized, but it's not to a scale. And I just wanted it to be to the same scale as everything else. Not that any of these patches actually work together, because they're all clocked differently, but they are all in the same key and scale. And then we have this string VCO, which is being controlled by, or it's being pitched by a sample and hold going into a quantizer. Sample and hold is being gated from the accent output of the Sphinx. And all of that's going into a Buffaco mixer here, and then into Chronoblob. Actually, it's going into this tiny little filter here first, which is a Steiner-Parker filter from Doc B. It's being modulated, the frequency of it's being modulated by another output on Sicaria. And yeah, that's it. Just a nice, undulating, ever-evolving little vibey melody. It's quite nice, slow as well. So yeah, that's that patch. Let's move on to the next one, which is our one up the top here. Let's just unmute it. So this whole patch is being run off this Note Sequencer 16. It's being clocked by a clock from JW. So both of these modules are from JW. Love JW modules, really cool stuff. The gate output is going into chances here, which is then the A and the B are controlling different attack decays, which are connected to 2 oscillators from Mokba, 2 filters from Mokba, and yeah, we just end up with this nice kind of dancing soft melody, which you can hear. That's going into this VCA mix from Venom, and then into Realities here, which is this beautiful reverb from 24 Conditions, which I looked at a while ago now. Up the top here we have an Energy from Geodesics, which is being pitched or controlled by so the volt per octave from the sequencer here, it's going to this switch. So it's a 1 to 4 switch. I've got it set to 3. So the first 2 outputs go into these 2 oscillators down here, but then the third output goes into this offset module, so we can get it into a range that I want, and then into a quantizer, and then into energy, which is being triggered by this burst generator, which is kind of giving it like a ratchet kind of vibe. It's going into this tiny little ADSR VCA combo from Sikazel. I really love it when an ADSR and a VCA are combined. And this one is just so small, so it was a no-brainer here. And yeah, that's also going into this VCA mix, and then it's all just going into realities, and we just get this lush, beautiful sonic world that just kind of keeps going. That's kind of the theme of today. So yeah, that's the third patch. Let's move on to the fourth and final patch. Just mute that. Got this one down here. I'm just going to unmute it. So, what we've got is Clocker from Sikazel, Trig Sequencer from Sikazel, Step Sequencer from Sikazel, Quantizer from Sikazel, and Sika's Sampler, plus that little ADSR VCA combo from the previous patch as well. So I'm using this clock to clock the Trig Sequencer, which is then clocking the Step Sequencer, and going into this quantizer, and that is controlling Pizza here, which is a nice FM oscillator. Let's just solo that actually. So it's just a very simple melody, just repeating, and it's going into Galaxy here. I've actually got it all the way on wet, and I've also got a dry signal going in here. I could have just used the mix, but I kind of wanted to do it this way, just get a little bit more volume out of it. And yeah, that's that part of the patch. And then I also have this drum beat, which is just a drum beat from a sample pack. I then am triggering it every, what is that, 8 bars or whatever? It's not 8 bars, it's like the clock divided by 8. And I had to stretch it a bit to get it sort of in time. It's a bit wonky still though. And that's going into this sifter here, which is being modulated pretty extensively by this Halverson module from Wicked, another random module. The output of the sifter is then going into this proc module, which is distortion and bit crusher and sample rate reduction module. And yeah, that sort of creates this glitchy drum beat with our pizza sequence. And I just quite like it. It's just pretty lush and dreamy. I'm also doing a little bit of modulation on the FM index over here with another Halverson. Probably could have just used the same one, but whatever. I had a tiny bit of space there, so. And yeah, that's it. That's all of these modules. So I'm just going to mute this really quick. I just think it's cool to make small little modules, and just to create limitations for yourself. It means that you think more creatively. And because VCV is just this unending playground of sonic possibilities, I think it helps to put some confines on what you're doing. So this was my goal here. And as you can see, they're very small patches. And that means that they are very focused, I think. And I think that that's works in their favor. So I just wanted to try doing this, and I had a lot of fun doing it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I'd love it if you went and checked out my other content. I've got the Make and Beats series, which is nearly finished. Got one more video to do for that one. And then I'll release the sample pack after I finished making it. And I've got my PhD stuff, which is kind of more for me, but if you're interested in the process of using AI to create music or using AI as a collaborator in the production process, then yeah, definitely check out those videos. It's kind of an ongoing series where I'm tracking my progress. And yeah, of course, there's PatchWerk as well. Yeah, like and subscribe to my channel if you like what I do. But that is going to do it for this video. I'm just going to play out with our first patch that I played. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.